Action is pouring in from both sides of the aisle this morning.
Chief congressional correspondent Chad Pergram joins us now by phone with more. Hey, Chad.
Good morning, guys. Well, as you might imagine, some of the reaction here is falling along party lines. Let me start with the Republicans. Carlos Jimenez, who is a Republican from southern Florida, he indicated, "Thank you, President Trump, for changing the course of history." He called this decisive action, the end of narco-terrorist regimes, and he called it the equivalent of the fall of the Berlin Wall in this hemisphere. Tom Cotton, who you mentioned earlier, he's the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He said that Maduro ran a vast drug trafficking operation and said that the interim government of Venezuela must decide to continue, whether or not, with drug trafficking. You know, in terms of a historical standpoint, this operation reminds me a lot of what happened in 1989 when we invaded Panama to remove Manuel Noriega, who then was taken to Miami and stood trial there. He was the leader in Panama. Very similar type of operation. We were on the ground, perhaps a lot longer than what might be the case here. Let me tilt over to the Democrats right now. As I said, the reaction on that side of the aisle is much different. A lot of criticism toward President Trump and the administration, and also questions about war powers. Melanie Stansberry is a Democrat from New Mexico. She says the strikes are illegal. She says that the president does not have the authority to declare war or undertake military operations, and Congress must act now to rein him in. Andy Kim is the Democratic senator from New Jersey, and there was a briefing about a week or so before Christmas time on Capitol Hill where Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the Defense Secretary, the Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was there, and Kim says that they told senators and, quote, looked them in the eye and said that this was not about regime change. This was a briefing about these strikes that we've been carrying on in the Caribbean for a while now, and Kim says, quote, I did not trust them then, and they blatantly lied to Congress. And he says that these operations put America at risk in the region. You mentioned Senator Gallego, the Democrat from Arizona, and he's saying that this war is illegal, and he says that the United States went from being a world cop to a bully. He called this an unjustified war. And Seth Moulton, the Democratic congressman from Massachusetts, he called this Iraq 2.0. Now, the one question that we have here on Capitol Hill is whether or not there were appropriate notifications to the leadership, but we don't have any indication of that just yet, that there was any sort of formal notification, even if it was just pro forma. But, you know, you can see this question of war powers sometimes where Congress says we have the authorization, we have the right to declare war. There is tension in the Constitution as to whether or not the president can do this under his powers, under, Article 2 of the Constitution, or whether or not you need to get a declaration of war or some sort of authorization. Again, we've not declared war since the 1940s, and that was against Romania. But routinely, we do get these operations. A lot of people say we're still, using these authorizations that were approved by Congress back in 2001 for the war on terrorism, and they lean on that, although some people think that that's calcified, or even the authorization in late '02 to go into Iraq. So when Congress comes back, the Senate is back late on Monday. The House is back on Tuesday. This is going to be a central question on Capitol Hill.
Chad, if I could just very quickly, because you're talking about the AUMF, the authorization for the use of military force, and it's clear that there was no AUMF on this, but also it's clear that this was in conjunction with law enforcement. So would there be a specific rule, or is there a reason why the president, Trump, any administration would have to notify congressional leaders and particularly seek that AUMF to go after an indicted narco terrorist?
Well, under the War Powers Resolution, which was approved in the 1970s in response to what the United States was doing in Vietnam, basically they have to come within certain intervals of time to Congress and keep them informed on what they're doing. And we've seen, situations over time where maybe some of these operations that we've been involved in overseas have gone south. I think about Mogadishu in 1993, and at that point, Congress, specifically because they felt that they were doing these, as Robert Byrd, the late senator from West Virginia, called it a cops and robbers operation, was the terminology that he used. They cut off the funding specifically for that. So, you can see where there is a little bit of a gray area. As I often say, Griff, you might not be able to be a little bit pregnant, but you can be a little bit at war.
All right. Great insight there, as always. Chad Pergram, thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.